Hello everyone, it's Dynamation4. Welcome back to Making of Influx Remastered. That's what we're doing. I mean, to be honest, I haven't been on here in way too long. It's weird. This thing is weird. I'm gonna tell you what this thing is. I get stuck. Not when you think I get stuck. I get stuck at weird points. I think I know why, and it's... I don't know. It's probably just me being crazy, but maybe you get stuck at points like this too. I get stuck at points where I have to make decisions. It's weird, right? If I'm like going along, doing my redstone, making some command blocks, and then I have a point where I have a decision I haven't made yet, I get stuck. Like, for instance, down here, I think I told a little story about this, how I couldn't figure out what to do from here. I got stuck here because there were some nice ways of doing it and there were not so nice ways of doing it. Did I want to do the nice way or the not so nice way? And it's like I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't make a decision. If I'm in the mindset of making decisions, I'm kind of fine. Like, if I have to plan out an entire wool, I can do that once I make a decision on how it's going to go. I can plan fine. It's just I can't make that initial decision. So we saw that with the light blue wool. I'm seeing it again with just the entirety of intersection 2. So this intersection has 3 wools. You have the pink wool, you have the magenta wool, and you have the yellow wool. Brief summary of them all. The pink wool takes place over here and uses some fancy creepers, which we might have some better tech for now. The magenta wool does not take place here, but takes place beyond the fog there. If I actually up my render distance, you can probably see it. There's a big landmass right there. That's where the magenta wool takes place. Put that back down because it just causes unnecessary lag. And the yellow wool is right over here. And if you can't tell, the yellow wool is a maze. So of all the reworks I want to work on these, the yellow is probably the one I have figured out the most. But the yellow wool is also the wool that leads to the next intersection. Spoilers. I think it's right here. Yeah, I think this is how you get to the next intersection. That it's over here, but I don't... Yeah, this is the wall. Yeah, that's how you get to the next intersection. Did they replace... No, okay. Because there should have been sponges there. So that tells me I want to do the yellow wool last. So I have been having the hardest time making a decision between doing the pink wool or the magenta wool next. So I'm going to randomize it. I have 4 chances at the pink wool, 4 chances at the magenta wool, and there's a 1 in 9 chance of doing yellow wool. I'm really okay with whatever decision happens to show up. Let's see what happens. Pink. Alright. That's cool. I will do that. It was actually pink in my test also, so that's kind of funny. We're doing the pink wool today. Couldn't tell by the video title, which probably spoiled that shuffle. The pink wool. Is that even next? It is next clockwise. I guess I didn't do that one in any order. The pink wool. Can I want to see if I can get the wool to execute so I can see what happens. Well, the command's not working anymore. Essentially, with the pink wool, you drop down to here. Oh, and something was moved, so that doesn't work. You did spawn into here, to this long tunnel. And it was specifically a long tunnel to showcase the mob behavior. And this is another one of those things I thought was a cool idea, but didn't get properly represented when it came time to do it. Obviously, there's no mobs right now, which is fine, I guess. They need to be spawned with some custom properties. Yeah, so this wool functioned. Nothing about it was wrong, but the way I implemented it and the way you're supposed to beat it did not properly showcase this effect. And the effect is, if I go over here, there's actually a sign that tells you about it. The sign's working, but it is not. The effect is similar to, if you ever played any Mario game, the way boos work. So if you turn your back on a boo, it can move. If you look at it, it can't. And I put that effect on creepers. So you would spawn in. Take a screenshot. You'd spawn in down here. In this lone hallway. I think it would not be. I think it'd be fine. There would be a creeper there. You come this way. If you look that way, there'd be a creeper standing right there. And if you turn around, the creeper could attack. If you look at it, the creeper won't move. It'll just stand there doing nothing. You'd be like, oh, okay. You turn around and it could come after you. One of the problems I had there is the creeper would wander. It would just like be like, hey, what's up? And you'd be like, oh shoot, there's a creeper that way. I can't go. Come this way. There's two more. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I put them down the side there. So basically the way this would work, someone would come. If the creeper didn't wander, they'd come. It'd probably, if they turned right, they'd just turn right and keep walking. They wouldn't even see anything, let alone figure out the mechanics. And then I mechanic test you. I drop you, if you step down here, into a big tank kind of thing. And fill it with creepers. All along this wall. No idea how this was supposed to test any of your knowledge of the mechanics. It's like a survival fest. I couldn't even do it most of the time, and I knew what the mechanics were. So, if you didn't know what the mechanics were, and you didn't know that this door was going to open in like 3 seconds, you'd fall in this and you'd blow up. Like, there was no question about that. So I think out of all the walls, this part was the worst off in terms of mechanics. I got better after this, I think. But this one, I did something complicated. Not too complicated, but didn't properly showcase it. The second half of the pink wall, because these walls now come in like 2 halves usually, was up here. This part I actually really liked. No one seemed to have a problem with this part. Everyone could figure it out relatively easily. In this room, there's just a bunch of stuff that you can press if you're really bored. There's this, which has redstone in it, which is actually wired to play the map, but I'm gonna move it. And there's a sign that says come back in a week. This I don't think is going to change at all. This room might look a little different, but I kind of really like how this room looks. It's very restful. I feel like I could just like take a seat here and chill forever. I could chill for a week. So I really like how this room turned out. The mechanics were fine. No, everyone understood it. Good. It'll stay pretty much exactly as is. This first half we have to take a look at. So this should be an easy wall if I could figure out how to do this. So the way the mechanic worked before, if I can find one of these. Oh geez. Oh geez, what is... This is if you stand on that block, I think. Back to score, keep it 0 to 0. I don't even know what this is doing. I think this is the one. Yeah, something like this. If you're looking in this range, 165 to 196. Yeah, this is, again, the mechanics weren't perfect. 165 to 196. So if you're looking this direction, right? And minus 30 to 30. You're looking straight, not looking at the ground. Then so if I'm standing, it's hard to explain this and actually have it make any amount of sense because it's just kind of nonsense. But it generally functioned a little bit. If I'm standing, can I have a block that actually like looks good? If I'm standing right here and looking this direction, had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can't facing up. I wanted the orange circle there. If I'm facing that direction, then from this point here, 10 blocks in this direction, and a radius of 10, so a big circle around that point. Every creeper here, something like that. Every creeper in this big circle would stop moving. If I'm standing here and looking that way. So you You get a bit of an angle off the side. It was a circle, so technically something like here would be there, but I don't think that's too much of an issue for that. The problem was it was very strict for directions, which is why I had to kind of do this straight directions thing. I couldn't put you in a room. I had to put you in a tight hallway. So you would be looking on one of the 4 axes. So the range for the look is like this. So if I'm looking here, things over here can still attack me. Things here can't. So there's some nonsense to it, just because of how I had to work the mechanics. And there's 4 of them. So for every 4 direction, if I'm looking this way, it goes from there. If I'm looking here, it's a big circle here, big circle there. That's how it worked. And in general, it did work. All I really did was set their AI to 0. So they would not know how to be creeps in mode. They just stand there like dummies. That's fine. But it can be improved a lot. And I think with some of the new tech we have, it can be done a lot smoother and more efficient, where I don't need to use cardinal directions, and I have more control over what creepers get disabled. If it wasn't clear, I am keeping these mechanics, just not the way I implemented them. I'm going to go find a nice big flat space, like over here, and start preparing. Actually, no, here's probably better. Preparing something to show you my plan for how this is going to work. I was right. Okay, it is the carrots. So there's something in the game called local coordinates. And those are represented by those carrots. I'm actually going to put this up one. And the carrots are relative to where you're looking. So if this is going to make a big mess, but I want to show it off. If I make a command block here, and I use local coordinates, so I'm going to execute as at P, run, net block, carrots, carrot 1, 10. Do that. Repeat. And maybe put a pressure plate on to be safe. When I step on this, runs. Maybe that doesn't. Hi. It's not working? Right. A block over here. Block over there. Okay, I figured it out. I need to run it at me too. At P as at P. So at my position as me, run this command repeatedly. That command is to place a redstone block where I'm looking. I kind of can draw using my eyes. So using this logic, I'm going to be able to track where the person is actually looking, and then use these pressure plates here as detection points. So from where you're looking, it's going to look in 3 spots. So 2 in front of you, 5 in front of you, and 9 in front of you. At 2 blocks in whatever direction you're looking, it's going to be a small 1 radius circle, and anything in that circle is going to stop moving. So anything in this little circle here is going to stop moving. Then anything within about 2 blocks of the 5 out circle, 2 to 3, it'll take some stuff to get this working. It'll take some trial and error. Anything within 5 is also going to be disabled, and then about 4 blocks of anything 9 away will also be disabled. So anything in any of those circles will stop moving. And don't think of them as flat circles, actually. Think of them as spheres, where the pressure plate is the center point. If I am like here. So centered on the pressure plate, big spheres of entities. So if I'm looking up, those spheres will track up, and there'll be 3 spheres of detection above me, stopping entities then, theoretically. So if you look above an entity, it will be able to see you. It's only when you get them in those spheres of vision that they stop moving. That's what I'm going to try to do. So this is going to take a ton of trial and error, and I think the best way to do it is, instead of freezing the entities, I'm going to do a visual change to them. Maybe kill them or something. And then I can place the entities in the world and run the command once and see what entities get killed to see which ones would stop following you. Yeah, so I'm going to play around with some commands and see if I can get something remotely interesting to happen. Alright, we have some sheep. They are falling everywhere, but we have some sheep. These sheep are actually here to help me demonstrate my latest convoluted convoluted man block setup thingy. So like I said previously, I want to use this idea of the 3 circles to make this kind of cone effect. And I got it working with particles. The sheep are kind of covering, but I have some command blocks here that run particle commands. I'm not sure if I actually showed that or not. But it created this cone of particles, which worked, looked pretty cool. But particles kind of have this randomness about them. Sheep are much less random than particles. So I got a bunch of sheep here. They're all white. You see there's some red ones, but that's a effect of me turning off the system. And essentially what's going to happen is I have these 4 commands right here. That's all it takes. This first command turns any sheep. This is a really long command. At me, as me. It runs at every sheep. Merges their data with a white sheep. So it turns all the sheep around me white. You can't use data merge with more than one entity, which is a big pain. So I actually have to run a nested execute. Execute, run, execute. So it goes to my position, then goes to every sheep within 25 blocks of me, and has that sheep at that sheep's position turn it white. So any sheep around me get turned white. Take it a step further. Starts at my position, offsets that position to 1.7 blocks above where I'm standing, and 2 blocks straight ahead of where I'm looking. So a little bit in front of me, in front of my eyes. Then goes to every sheep and tells that sheep to turn red to 14B color. There's another one, a little bit further distance, goes out 7 blocks. And from there tells every sheep within 5 blocks to turn red. Goes even further to 15 blocks out and tells every sheep within 10 blocks of there to turn red. And that effect is actually really cool. I pull this lever, you see we got some red sheep, and this is even showing how awesome this is. But essentially every sheep I look at turns red, and when I'm not looking at the sheep are no longer red. If I turn fast, you can kind of see it. Has kind of this red following me, but all the sheep are still white except for that. If I look down, you can't see it, but it actually is doing what you'd expect to do. You can kind of see it here. As I look up, less sheep are turning white because they're no longer in my view. So to help me demonstrate, I have alt account going to go in, and as he gets closer to the command blocks, he becomes the one running them. And I want to hide. Okay, there we go. That'll work. There we go. All right, you have a good view of this. So as he comes into the sheep, let's get a little closer. I see we have some sheep there, turning red. As he gets right here, look at this. This is so cool. Oh, I'm looking down. That's why. There's like a spotlight following whichever direction he's looking, and I think that is just super cool. And as you look up, it gets smaller because there's less in your field of view, and as you look down, it does the same thing. You see there's even a sheep up there to kind of show that. I see the sheep. That sheep's the first one to disappear. Yeah, so you get this really cool effect. It works everywhere, and the greatest... I gotta switch back. You out here. I can come back in here. The coolest thing about this is working for red sheep right now, but in order to get it to work how I want, all I have to do is switch out sheep for creeper, and color for no AI. And I have the function that I need. And like this simple solution, you can even extend it further in terms of the circles if you want, but this simple solution is actually really cool just in terms of any entity. If an entity has a data value that you want to modify when it's visible, you can use this. Um, really cool. So I'm going to set this to creepers. Oh, I'm gonna hit the sheep kill button first, so cover your eyes. Set this to creepers, and set it to no AI, and we're gonna play around with some booze and see what happens. This is pretty cool. So it works. It works really well. In order to kind of help prove the point, when the creepers are not moving, they have no AI. I put a little flame over their head. So when I look away, you see that one starts moving. Oh, he's gonna get me. Ooh, ooh. And as I type a command. Whoa. Oh, too many. Ah! They launched. All frozen. That's so neat. So cool. I think this is a really cool... This is just a cool effect in general. If you can't see those flames, if you don't know what's going on with those flames, or you can't see them, this would be mind-blowing, wouldn't it? I know I'm being crazy about this, but this is so neat. I didn't think this would actually work this well. But if you couldn't actually see those flames, you'd be like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden you turn your back and there's a ton of creepers coming on you. Like, look at this. Just look how like scary this is almost. Like you're minding your own business, doing nothing, you turn your back, nothing. Oh, they're all right here. They all blew each other up. They're all chilling there. They're like not moving. Ignore the flame. Like you go to do something else. You look back and oh, that's spooky. That's so spooky. Mario is such a scary game. This is the exact effect I wanted. This is so cool. It's like, oh, it's like the opposite of Slender. You want to look at it. Oh man, I need to. So now the challenge is to actually take this concept and put it in the map in such a way that you learn the mechanics as quickly as possible and can use them to do crazy things because of how slick these mechanics are and how almost seamless they are in terms of just their function. Like if you're looking at them, they stop trying to attack you. It's so smooth like that. There's no other restriction on it. That I can take this concept and I think I can do some really cool stuff with it. It's gonna be tough to do something where I teach you mechanics and have you use them so well. But I think it's doable. I think it could be really cool. If that made any sense at all. Let's design a map. Okay. So I did the thing. I got the creepers working. Did I already show that? I already showed that. Yeah, I did. If not, then yell at me that I didn't show it and you have no idea what's going on. So the wool itself, I thought of just from experimenting with those creepers, I thought of some good ideas. So you approach this. All that's gonna happen is it's gonna disappear. Poof. You can choose not to go in. You can choose to go in. There's gonna be a book in this chest. I'm playing around with MBT data. I accidentally deleted it. And you have this drop. This drop drops you to water, but it puts you in this room. This is not gonna be a room. It's gonna be a mansion, pretty much. It's gonna be a big spooky mansion filled with creepers. And the idea is it's how it's supposed to be a big spooky map. So, yeah, that's what I thought about this. Just from playing around with the creepers, having them, you look away and all of a sudden they're staring at you, staring you down. How spooky that feels. Made me feel like I need to put this in a big spooky mansion. So it's gonna have hallways, it's gonna have creepers everywhere. I don't want to make it straightforward. I want it to be a little bit backtracky, like have some keys that open doors, to get more keys, open more doors, stuff like that. Yeah, not keys exactly, but something of like to unlock the thing. And to finally get to the exit. The whole way, you'll be passing through hallways, passing through rooms. They filled with creepers. You have to navigate around them while being like snuck up from behind. You have to turn around and be like, "What?" Then the ones in front of you, they're looking before, they're now attacking you. And it's gonna be great. And hopefully, I'll make it so that it saves your progress. So if you manage to go the long distance and get a key, you keep the key. That kind of thing. But I think it's a good idea. Of course, let me know in the comments down below what you think of my spooky creepers. I think it'd be really cool if I pull this off the way I'm intending. I don't want to make it super huge. I want it to be like a 5-minute section, so not incredibly long, but a little bit mazy. You could get lost a little bit. But let me know what you think. Let me know of what you thought about just the creepers in general. I think it's a really cool concept that I'd like to see used elsewhere in the map too, just because of how cool it is. But yeah, thanks for watching. Next episode we will be building the mansion and hopefully finishing all of pink. If I get that mansion done, that's pretty much the end. This is the second half of the pink wool, which is up there, but that is so easy to implement. So that's like 5 minutes to just plug that in there and it's done. That's the pink wool and you're good. So again, let me know what you think. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye. I think I have a good plan. Relatively straightforward, and I think it accomplishes the job nicely. So if I'm standing at this here green point, looking this direction, there's a range of my view I want to cover. This is going to be represented by those redstone torches. So anything, if I'm looking perfectly straight this direction, anything that way of the redstone torch is ignored. Anything that way of the redstone torch is ignored. Only the things in this range. You don't necessarily have to look exactly at something, but you have to be looking in its general direction. And I will be locking to up and down. There'll not be a lot of vertical movement because that makes this slightly more complicated. Not much, actually. Does it? No, vertical movement is actually entirely handled by this. So I don't have to lock up my vertical movement. This works in any direction. I can be looking straight up, and I think in theory things above me will be frozen. In theory, if this is all going according to plan. So I have my general idea laid out here. Yeah, the 3 pressure plates and some circles of buttons of various colors. So in the game, we have a unique thing that is, how does it go? I think the carrot. If I do 3 carrots. No. 2 carrots? Oh, those are local. Okay. How does it go? I gotta remember how to do this. 1 second.